Okay, so Ashley also is the Athens-Clarke County Green School Coordinator. And she was a winner of the 2014 Fanbrook Quality Service Award from the Georgia Association for Education of Young Children. I mean, come on, this woman is qualified. She's going to talk to us about preschools in Georgia. So, come on up, Ashley.
So good to speak to all of the 5 presenters today. My name is Ashley. The microphone, sorry. Can you hear me? Okay. My friends are way more nervous than I am about this. I am the director of a preschool in town, and I have 2 kids of my own. They are 2 and 3. And I'm going to talk to you about choosing a preschool in Athens and in Georgia. So whether you are having kids in 5 to 7 years, or you are pregnant and looking for childcare, or your kid is happily enrolled in preschool, this will be relevant to you. So when should you start looking for childcare? You should start if you have roots in the community and you're thinking about conceiving. It's probably a good time to start looking at your options. A lot of people have their baby and then are ready to go back to work the next day, and they come into the program and are like, hey, can I drop my kid off tomorrow? And the answer is absolutely no. Most of the time it's no. So plan way ahead, and if you find out that you're pregnant, that's also a really good time to come. So conceive, come in and start touring schools, get to meet directors, get to meet programs. To start, you should ask your friends, get involved in some online communities, some ladies groups, some parent groups, and start asking people, get some recommendations. And even if they don't live locally, you can still ask them. Maybe they go to like a Primrose or a Creme de la Creme or Kids Are Kids, and those are all like state to state. So they could be out of state and still give you recommendations about programs that they like. And ask them what they like about that program, what they don't like about that program, if there was anything, like if they had a conflict, how that was resolved in the program. And then start compiling a list of things that are a good priority for you. So what is it that you're looking for in childcare? Are you looking for something that's just right across the street from you? Are you looking for something that's Montessori or Waldorf specific? Are you looking for something that's state-of-the-art, really clean, have lots of outdoor time? Think about what your priorities are and make that list. The next thing you want to do is go to the DECAL website. So DECAL stands for the Department of Early Care and Learning, and they handle things like Georgia Pre-K, the CAPS program, and they are also our state governing agency. And they license programs. So they'll come to schools twice a year, usually, sometimes a little more. And we have 2 types of visits. We have a monitoring visit and a licensing visit. And so to search for these, I'm getting too far ahead of myself. To search for these, you would go to the DECAL website, go to find a program, or for families, find a program, and then you would type in your what you're looking for, so maybe a zip code or a specific program that you're looking for. Click search, and it'll have a map of all of the programs that meet your criteria. And you can just scroll through them and get to know those programs on their DECAL website. This is tough. And then if you scroll down, what Georgia does not do a great job of telling parents, and no director is going to tell you, is that every licensing report, so every time, just like a restaurant is inspected and that's public record, preschools, that record, it's public record. So no one is going to tell you that. No one is going to give you a notification when they got inspected. A director certainly isn't going to tell you because he or she does not want you looking through their stuff and seeing all their violations that they got. So go scroll all the way to the bottom of the page, and there is the meat, and it has like 5 years worth of inspection reports that you can scroll through. So you'll click on the little PDF and you'll find there's the different kinds of inspection reports, and you can access those. So the licensing report, there's 2 types, licensing and a monitoring. The monitoring visit is super short. They come in for 2 hours. They want to check criminal background checks. They're going to interview the teachers, walk around the school, see if it looks nice, and then be on their merry way. And then she'll generate a report, and that'll be a public record. She'll also, and I say she because ours is a she. There are men, I think, maybe in this industry, not many. If she comes with her little cart up to the front door, it's a licensing visit, and you're like, ah, fuck, this is how my day is gonna be spent. You're gonna sit there for 8 hours, and she is going to, Charlie, you are killing me. It's a licensing visit, 8 hours. She's going to come in and she's going to pour through all of the teacher files. She's going to pour through all of the children's files. She's going to go around and ask the teachers numbers of questions. She's going to observe diaper changing procedure. She is going to make sure like there's no broken equipment in the classroom, that you have enough materials in your classroom, that your teachers are even qualified to be a teacher at your school. And so if she sees anything that is out of the ordinary or against the law. Stop. I have the worst. I brought horrible people to this. This is not a good. You need to go. Go. So that report will be available online, and if it's not met, so you'll get 2 different things for each criteria. It's either met or not met, and if it's not met, so for example, if she sees something like maybe an infant teacher had 12 infants by herself, that would be a citation because you have to maintain certain ratios. If there is a broken shovel on our playground, we'll get cited for that because you're not allowed to have any broken equipment. So some things are really important and some things not so important. And it's important for you to check this, even if you are at a school that you love and you trust. Even if you come to my school, I would still want you to look at this because no one is going to tell you anything about that. And the reason that this is so important is there was a school called Little Ones Academy, and they were right next door to us, and they were also had another one over by Big Lots. And I'm a nosy neighbor, so I snoop on everybody's inspection reports. And in August of 2013, they were cited for not having criminal background checks for several of their teachers. So the consultant gave them 30 days. You have 30 days to repair this, and I'll be back in 30 days. So August, September, October, November, December, no criminal background checks. In January of 2014, one of their teachers was featured in the Banner Herald for holding down a child and allowing other children to bite that child. And the assistant teacher didn't report it, that teacher didn't report it, the director didn't report it. When the parent picked up that child, she was covered in bite marks all over her body, so she filed a police report. Then February, March, April, and May, still no criminal background checks done for these teachers. And it came to find out that that teacher should not have been working with children to begin with because she had a felony arrest record, so she cannot work with kids. And if they would have done those criminal background checks, they would have seen that she shouldn't have been working there. And so I saw one time one of their students who was about 3 left the program and crossed a busy intersection, Barnett Shoals, and walked down Research Drive. A police officer picked up that child, brought him back to the program, and then the very next day, they were in their driveway playing. You're required by law to be in a 4-foot fenced area at all times, and they were playing in their driveway, having like a splash day with kids. Right next to that, there's the intersection again. So clearly they hadn't learned their lesson. And so when our consultant came, we have the same consultant, I said, what would it take? What would it take for you to close this program? I have reported them so many times. They are in the news for abusing kids. They lost a child, and clearly that's on record. And she said, I can only write reports. The police have no power to close down these programs. I have no power to close down the programs. The most that I could do is if a child died at the program, I could close the school for 2 weeks, but they could appeal it and be open within 48 hours if they terminated the teacher or allowed it or made concessions that they would not allow this thing to happen again. So that's what you're up against. No one has any power. You would think as a parent, if you're paying so much money, that you have someone that's looking out for you, but it's just not the case. No one is looking out for your school, and no, even if it's regulated, that really means jack shit. They can abuse your kid and nothing can happen about it, and you wouldn't know, and you won't know. None of those parents would have found out about that abuse had it not been in the paper, or no director is going to say, hey, by the way, our teacher bit the shit out of a kid, so please look at that inspection report so you can view that. Oh, we lost a kid down Research Drive the other day, please look at that inspection report. You're not going to get a notification. Right from the start does not have your contact information. It's not happening. So just make sure that you are vigilant. And even if it's a school that you love, if you come to my school, I still want you to look at those inspection reports. And the idea isn't necessarily that you would see something you don't like on that inspection report and unenroll your kid immediately. Ideally, you would go to the director and say, hey, I noticed this bullshit on your thing. Can you please explain yourself to me? And maybe there is a valid reason. Right from the Start has a lot of really archaic rules and a lot of rules that don't make a whole lot of sense. And the criminal background check policy, to be fair, is outrageous. As a K through 12 teacher, you probably go in and get fingerprints and then go away. For us, we have to, the teacher has to fill out, the potential teacher has to fill out a piece of paper. I have to fill out that piece of paper, we send it away. She goes to the UPS store on Alps Road, gets her fingerprints done. They send it to Bright from the Start. They also give her a piece of paper where she comes to my school, and together we fill out a 6-page thing about how much she weighs and what she looks like. And then we submit that, and we don't hear back from anywhere from 3 to 21 days. And so she goes to get another temporary criminal background check so she can work for us, which just covers the state. And all of this is very new, by the way. Prior to this, it was only a Georgia criminal background check, and they were only checking for felonies. They were not checking national sex offender registries. They were not checking anything. That only happened in 2014. So since then, our standards have been a little bit higher. Anyway, I digress. So not to scare you, but kind of to scare you, definitely check into your school's criminal background checks, check into their licensing reports. It's super, super, super important, no matter how long your child is at a program, no matter how long you've known that director, that teacher, you need to check them. Okay. Oh, I didn't cover sticker shock. So most parents don't know how much childcare costs. And if you're new to it, I should warn you that it's pretty expensive. Just on my brief search online, you can go to Child Care Network, which costs $520 per month, or you can go to Primrose, which costs $1,000 per month. And unfortunately, value goes along with how much you pay. So if you're thinking about having children, plan in your budget for about between $700 and $1,000 a month in childcare. It's really, really expensive. And if you have 2 children, you usually get a 10% discount off your oldest one, but $10 isn't really going to help you. Oh, that's $100. $100 isn't really going to help you too much. So think about that when you're having children. Okay. Let's see. Oh, the rules and regulations. So the laws that we have to abide by, those are all accessible to you too. Oftentimes schools will say to you, oh, we can't do that, it's against the law, and that's bullshit, they just don't want to do it. So you have access to those laws. You just type in rules and regulations on the DECAL website, and I pull it up on my phone, I saved it there, and it's easy just to search for a certain thing. So if I want to know, what are the laws regarding bottles, how can I assemble a bottle or put a bottle together? There's a whole section on infant feeding, and so you can find out those rules and regulations too. Okay, so you've talked to your friends, you've compiled a list of things that are important to you, you went to the DECAL website, you viewed their profile, you viewed those licensing reports, and now you're going to tour those schools. So call anywhere from 6 to 10 schools and tour them. That sounds like a lot of schools to tour, but you need to. And some of them you're going to walk into it and go, holy shit, how are these people open? A lot of it is going to be like really startling to you. Try a Child Care Network. That's a good one to start with if you want a little shock. There's a few other ones for sure, but for me personally, I would only take my kid to about 5 schools in Athens. And so if you have an infant and you're thinking of going back to work, there's probably about 5 schools, and each of them are only legally allowed to have 12 infants in a class, and most schools only have 1 class. So if you think about that, it's only, 60 spots for all of Athens, Georgia, so that's why you need to get on those waiting lists a lot sooner. So tour those schools a whole lot. Some of them you're going to walk into and just love it so much. You're going to feel like, oh, this is where I need to be, this is home. Some of them you'll just feel like, it was good, not great. So compile your list. What was your first priority school? What was your third priority school? And then get on those waiting lists. And that'll cost you between $25 and $100 to get on waiting lists. But go ahead and do that as soon as you possibly can, so that your child is the very first, especially if you're looking for infant care. You want to view the school during very busy hours. Some schools like to say, oh yeah, you can come between 1 and 2 o'clock. What's happening at 1 and 2 o'clock? Nap. No one wants to see a bunch of kids taking a nap. You don't want to see the quiet, peaceful time. You want to see up when shit is going down. You want to see how that teacher is interacting with that kid. You want to see her getting down on that child's level. And I say her, there are, like I said, some men in this industry, but for the sake of this speech, only women. You're going to want to see the teacher, how she deals with conflict. So 2 and 3-year-olds have shit fits sometimes, and that is okay. You just want to see how that teacher is going to interact with that child. How is she going to speak to them? Is she going to look them in the eye, or is she going to be like, hey, stop that shit? No, you don't want that to happen. You want her to get down on their level. You want them to look the child in the eye and mediate. You want positive redirection. You want to see snack time. Are the children serving themselves? Are they hurling food across the floor? Are they eating food off the floor? What's happening during snack time? What's happening during outside time? How does your teachers look? Do they look stressed out, or do they look at peace and like they have a good control of their classroom? What does the circle time look like? Are the kids engaged? Are they having fun? Or is everybody miserable and crying? So those are all the things that you want to look at, and that'll help get your feel for your classroom. So if they say to you, you can only come between 1 and 2, say, no, that doesn't work for me. How about 9:30? Or how about 3:45? Those are good times to come view the school. If you're touring a school, don't be an asshole, because I have just as much power to not accept you into my program as you have to walk around schools and find the one that's good for you. So don't be a jerk. It's okay to ask questions, and if you saw something on an inspection report that you didn't like, ask about it, but don't be an asshole. Don't be accusatory to that program. Be kind, and for just in general life, it's always good to be friendly with the secretary and the office worker. They know the shit, so you want to be nice to them. Yeah. Oh, and you might want to ask about a nursing space. We have some nursing moms here. So is the program nursing friendly? Are you allowed to nurse in the classroom? If you come on your lunch break, will you be able to nurse there? That's really a good question to ask. Okay, so you've narrowed your list down to 3 to 5 programs. Get on those waiting lists, and then wait for your call. 2 other things I didn't talk about was quality rated and NACCE. So quality rated is Georgia's initiative to say, our standards really suck, and we are at the bottom of the barrel. So Athens is one of the lowest performing counties for preschools. I think it's the bottom 3, it might be the worst, in Georgia. And Georgia is one of the lowest performing states in the United States. So we're not looking great. And you will see that when you start touring preschools. So tour them, and you will discover our standards really suck. There's not a whole lot. If you were just meeting the bare minimum for Right from the Start standards, then you're probably not doing so great. But Right from the Start rolled out this new program called Quality Rated, and it's an accreditation program, and we are scored on a variety of things. So they'll come in the classroom, everything from teacher interactions to materials in the classroom. So we have to have blocks, and there have to be 27 blocks for it to be a set. It's like real minutia here. And they will look at everything, and we'll get a number score based on what they find. And then all of the scores are added up. So the program gets a score, each of the classrooms get a score, and that number gives you a star rating. So either 1, 2, or 3 stars. 1 star being the lowest, 3 stars being the highest. 1 star would be like meeting the bare minimum standards of Right from the Start, 3 stars being above and beyond. And it's not required now. It will be required for, in 2020, schools that accept CAPS, which is a subsidy program for low-income families, if they are going to receive government income of any kind, which is not a lot. They have to be quality rated. But I think in 2025 is what I've heard, that schools will have to be quality rated. And really that's more geared towards traditional schools. My school is not a traditional school, so it doesn't quite fit, but it's still a good indicator that that school is really trying, and they are eager to show off what they do, that they're above and beyond what just the plain bare minimum standards are. The other accreditation is called NACCE. It stands for the National Association for the Education of Young Children. It's a mouthful. There's no reason for you to know what that means at all. It's not. But they are a national level. So if I'm NACCE accredited in Georgia, another school could be NACCE accredited in Alaska. And they have pretty similar standards. Their main focus, so quality rated is mainly focused on like the equipment in the classroom and some interactions. NACCE is more focused on sanitation, teacher credentials, that kind of thing. So they're the reason a school would have like a newsletter or parent meeting, parent nights, parent-teacher conferences, developmental milestones, those kinds of things, and then a very heavy sanitation policy. So if that's really important to you, looking for a NACCE-accredited school would probably be good for you. There's only 2 NACCE-accredited schools in Athens, Lifespan and McFall. So yeah, you don't have a lot of NACCE options here. Okay, so after you have been enrolled in a program, what should you do next? You should drop by unannounced. Don't wait for them, just drop off and pick up. You want to see middle of the day. So just say, hey, I'm just going to come by and see what's going on. There's an observation window, definitely do that. Go view the observation deck. If they have cameras, definitely view that. You want to see what's going on when you're not there. Volunteer in the classroom. That's a great way to see if the teacher has control of her classroom, if things are going well. Volunteer to be a reader, let kids read to you. And yeah, observe. So that's what you should do. If you have a problem at a school, you should definitely speak to the teacher. Ideally, you want someone who is apologetic, who listens to what you're saying, that doesn't just try to make excuses for what's going on in the classroom. And if that doesn't work, talking to the director can help. And if she is the same way, you kind of know that there is a problem. Schools without a good administration, in my opinion, tend to not do very well because the fish stinks from the head. You definitely want to have a good, solid foundation at the top so that she can support her teachers, he or she. There's a lot of male directors in Athens. And yeah, so you want, and if that doesn't work, and if you leave a program, let's say you come pick up your child and she's covered in bite marks and you're like, fuck this, I'm unenrolling my kid, fine, call the police, but you should also call Bright from the start and let them know that that happened. Like I said, there's not gonna be a whole lot that they can do, but generating that report lets other parents see that this shit is happening. And tell your friends to look at those reports. No one knows to look at their reports, and why would you? As a parent, there were so many things I didn't know to do, and I certainly, if I were not in this industry, would have no idea that these reports exist. So tell everybody that you know. I feel like I'm on this one-woman champion horse to tell people, this exists, look at it, because it's so, so important. And it does, other states have different versions of this. Some states have really insane rules, like Idaho. I was checking on for a friend recently, and they have 3 bullets for what it takes to run a school in Idaho, and they have no monitoring service, nothing like that. So, and then another state, I can't remember where I was looking, you have to like request, you have to send in a written notarized form to get access to those inspection reports. So other states do have similar things. Some states like North Carolina are super easy and you can view their inspection reports. But if you move out of state, definitely check into what that looks like. Okay? I think that's all I have. So does anyone have any questions? Yes.
How do you make your decisions who you're accepting to the school and who you don't accept? If there are only 60 spots or 20 spots maybe per school or even less. So how do you make your decisions?
For my program, it's first come, first serve. So if you come to my program, you apply, you get on that waiting list, unless you are a total asshole to me. So I had one guy who like went through my office drawers while I was giving him a tour and like wandered off and started going through teacher cabinets. You're not getting into my school. That was weird. Don't do that. But I mean, that's super rare. Probably like one a year, one every other year. But generally, it's first come, first serve. My school is a mixed age group, so for our infants, we have 12 infants, and I try to keep it at 4 young babies, 4 crawlers, 4 walkers. So I'll look down my list and I'll say, okay, the first person who is between 0 and 6 months, that's the child I'm gonna take. And so I just go down the list and find that person. Does that answer your question? Okay, yeah, yes.
What are the other schools in Athens that you like that you said you would take your kids to?
I will not say that. I don't mind. I don't mind slamming some schools, but I don't know. I don't want to give my, like, this is where you should go, and you go there and you hate it so much. Yeah.
So what's the worst school?
Well, little ones, but they closed down. Yeah. Right now, the worst school in Athens, no, UGA is one of, like, the top schools. Everyone has an opinion. Yeah, I don't know currently what the worst school is. There's a lot of them, I mean, and in-home daycares are licensed too. So schools that would not be licensed are usually faith-based programs or Mother's Morning Out programs. If you care for under 3 children, you don't have to, or under 2 children, you don't have to be licensed for money. So if Mima is watching 6 of her grandkids, she doesn't have to be licensed. But if her children are paying her to watch her kids, then she would have to be licensed. But no one's telling on Mima. But you could, so if you have an in-home daycare and you're caring for like 2 of your neighbor's kids, you have to be licensed. But like a Mother's Morning Out, Live Oak, they don't have to be licensed. Emmanuel wouldn't have to be licensed. Yeah. Yes. Does all of what? Like the inspection?
Right from the start, who runs that?
Right. Bright from the start does run the lottery funded. Yes. So they have those inspections, and also some, like if you're a private pre-K. So AMS is one. What is the other one that is over in Watkinsville, the rich people school? The one that got into a fight with Avid. Yes, nailed it. Athens Academy is also licensed their pre-K program. Anyone else? Yes.
So I understand that like there's not that many administrative penalties for anything that goes wrong, like 2 weeks shutting down or 21 days shutting down. It's like
Yeah.
serious to get. So how do places end up shutting down?
Very few are. I don't know of any that have been shut down by Bright from the start. I would say either their owners are like, fuck this, I don't want to be in the press this much, because usually they post their names, good for them. Or parents just withdraw their children and they can't keep up enrollment. Yeah. But as far as I know, no one really has the capacity to shut down a school unless that director was like, no, we're going to keep killing kids and tough titties to you. You have to deal with it. Yeah. Yes.
Faith-based, like, boarding houses don't have to be licensed, so they're not inspected or anything like that at all?
Faith-based programs have no inspection reports. So not only is there no one coming in, or no one's going to shut their program down if they're non-compliant, but also no one even cares. No one's looking at them at all. Yeah. So you're putting a lot of faith in your program anyway, because most people until now didn't know that existed. Yeah. So there's no real regulation of this at all. It's alarming, isn't it? It's really frightening. And you would think you're paying so much money, you're like dying to pay for childcare, and no one gives a shit. No one is looking out for your kid, and it's really outrageous. And I mean, I go to different programs for trainings, and I've taken classes at other schools, and you can just tell it's really alarming. It's really, really scary out there. Yeah.
Since you've looked at a lot of these records, would you say for the most part you do get what you pay for? Like if you're paying, like you said with like Primrose or whatever, like, or if you're paying like $1,000 a month, you're more likely, like that, does that go hand in hand with like?
Unfortunately, yeah. So the question is, does money and the quality of care go hand in hand? And unfortunately, yes. So if you're not paying a whole lot for school, chances are there's not a whole lot of educated teachers there. There's not a whole lot of high standards. I mean, there's of course exceptions to this. So sure, you'll find Mima is really great, and she's an in-home daycare and she charges $35 a week. Great, she is the exception to the rule. And I mean, there's also really great programs that suck, and like really great high-priced programs that suck. For sure. And I mean, something that's important to know is that you're dealing with a lot of people. I myself manage anywhere from 15 to 20 people, and a lot of them are women that are 20, 25, don't have kids, and your perspective changes in every possible way when you become a parent. And so hiring women who are not moms sometimes can be a little difficult, and they are human and they're fallible and they're going to make mistakes. And even great programs have made mistakes. And so I'm sure Primrose probably has made mistakes, and the top tier high cost programs have made mistakes. So just recognizing that they are people and they're going to make mistakes. It's just how the program handles it, I would say, is the most important factor. Any other questions? Yeah. All right. Well, thank you so much for your time. Appreciate it.